stone here, and then on the other side of this one here, which this one's needing repair as well. Some people have asked about the stones that are inlaid into the grass.
Yeah.
All these stones were always upright. Some people think that they were put in like this. These have all fallen down.
Oh, okay.
They were never meant to be like this. So that's another interesting job for the person who cuts the lawn here. To try to not ruin anything, but
Put them up.
yeah. So we'll just keep continuing. Just be careful with it. There's a couple of them that are.
Amanda, can you talk a little louder? Wind or whatever is
Oh yeah.
missing you.
Yeah.
Thanks, hon.
My husband, he'll tell you I can do.
Oh my, look at that. It's pretty.
This is the one that Jules just mentioned earlier that they clean. It's got the curtain, or I like to call the veil.
Oh. That looks clean.
Yeah. Typically anything that has a curtain or a veil on it symbolizes the passage from one veil to the next, into the next life. There's quite a few stones that have the etching of the curtains in it, but this is one of the only examples I've ever seen where it looks like it's actually draped on. This is probably one of my favorite examples here. So, and then now we're gonna head on just right over here to the kidney family. No pressure with the great grandson here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So we can all just kind of gather around here. This one was a little difficult for Jules and I, just because the headstone didn't really have dates or anything on it. It just says in memory of the Dan Kidney family. And there aren't any headstones or footstones, markers of that nature. So we were actually out here probing for any vaults underneath. And what Jules actually does is she takes a DeWalt drill with a
3-foot masonry bit.
And we're just drilling down until we hit something concrete. And then she knows the measurements of how large these vaults are supposed to be, and spray painted here are the ones that we found underground. So you'll
And
see.
are the old vaults made of metal or wood?
All the vaults from 1930 something are made out of a concrete material.
So you can't metal
anything
detect them.
prior-
That's when the state
we're
said
not
that you
gonna
had
find
to. Prior to that, they were just taking the caskets and put them in.
Yeah.
Oh.
So then we're not gonna. There's probably nothing.
So like when we GPR and GPS, he would come through here and he can see how indentations are. In the earlier one, we went back over here to something he said, well, that's where they're buried. But actually the GPR shows him being buried over here, not on his plot supposedly. Some people we have a real suspicion that a man named Rancho, whose monument is out
Off the highway.
off the highway down there. We believe he's buried here now through the GPR and GPSing, but the GPR shows that there are three family members in that area.
Oh
so we
my.
believe that his headstone actually belongs back here. But as back in those days, they were known as mulattoes.
Yeah.
And during that time, colored people were not. And they believe that they took his headstone and put it over there because that was his property. That they took his headstone out there because the military was paying for some of this till that
Dumped it
time.
off their truck and dumped it in the field.
Put it over there. So we believe we're trying to make sure that this is correct. We want to bring his headstone and put it back here with his family. It was the Rental Howard. The one Howard boys is here.
Oh.
So. But then there's kidneys on that side, and the reason we can't is because they were prior to 1930.
Yep, so this is pretty much the center, and then you can all the way to kind of where Kyle's standing there. That goes all the way there, and then all the way to here.
From here, this is a 2-foot section in through here, and so there would be 3, so there's 12 feet here, and then from here, there's 12 feet over that way. Those, can't find anything, there's no vaults, but this family has vaults because they were after the 1930s, and then one of the babies is buried right in through there.
So how deep down did you find the vault?
Vaults usually are about 2.5 feet usually, depending, on settling and stuff like that. But the holes are usually dug about 5 foot, and then, then the vault goes in, so there's some spacing on top of it. So.
And if it's concrete, did they make the vault right here on the spot?
Most of them would come like from Wilbur Vault, which is an old vault company. What they do is they bring the vault, they lower the body in, and then they have a sealer that goes over the top of it and seals the vault.
Oh my.
Things have gotten better over the years of truly sealing. Old vaults didn't quite have the ceilings back in the 30s, so water can get them and things like
Right.
that. But the more recent, the 50s, 60s, they sealed them better.
And when did cremation start?
Oh, I want to say cremation's maybe
Very recent.
yeah 70s, 60s, late 60s, maybe 70s. It wasn't real popular. Now it's like people just get cremated and you have no idea where they're at. So there's some people who are cremated and there's a tablespoon here in their vault buried, and the rest of them is around God's country. But I always think everybody should have a place that says, this is where I was. My family. You're here for history. I mean, and if people have ashes and they're gone, what do you do?
We have a bench, and it's got all of our names, and then next to my parents, and then they put a cross when one of us dies. But the ashes aren't there.
See, and that's going to be changing now. You can't have your name in this cemetery in a monument unless you are buried.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're not here, but hopefully they don't change that in ours.
And for that reasoning is because we've had some of them, we find out that there's nobody buried in there. They're buried at Halloween Mausoleum because they didn't want to be in the ground cold. But they have this property here, and we can't find family, and there's a monument there, so we can't sell it.
How many available plots are there?
We're working on it. Right now, I think there might be 20, but it's depending on, and the reason we haven't been able to sell them for the last year and a half is because we don't know what's happening with DNR. Whether we would get the permit or we have to take the 20-some people here and put them somewhere in the cemetery. Now that we got that, we can get that filled in, and now we can look at selling them. There's lots of... No, but we have some lots, and there's some lots right now. The guy died in California, has no relatives, we cannot find anything. We're going to be posting it to look for him. We posted in California, no answer. We're going to take it to the judge now in Green Bay and give us permission to sell them. So we have to wait 1 year to sell them in case a family member would show up.
Sure, sir.
So there's 6 right there.
How much are they?
There's 1,600 right now.
1,600.
Which is less than many places have for a historic monument. I know some of the places I called here on, they're up like $2,200.
Oh my, that's not bad.
This is the least expensive riverfront
bad.
property.
I like this place.
Well, this is your family. I mean, there's open plots here.
What you do is...
Well, that's what they try to.
They're all taken.
Oh, really?
No, there's only 3 here.
Oh, that is
This
true.
actually
Yeah.
monument is a division of 2. In order to, if you have family here and you want to be buried here, you have to have a notarized from everybody
See, that's what
in the
she's-
in your family that you can be buried in that property, unless there's people who own this make up a trust, and then the trust goes into them, the family's divided up, and then they can fight it out. And the reason